For those of you who don't know me, my name is Courtney, but here in the factory I'm also known as Cornelius. So can anyone tell me what it says behind me?
Never give up.
I think you guys can do it better.
Never give up.
Okay, one more time.
Never give up.
Okay. So I'm gonna answer a question that's probably been on most of your minds. Who is this person standing here? Where did she come from? Where was she? Because I was away for 8 months. Can you believe it?
You were at Bible.
I was at Bible college. Yes, I was away at Bible college in Peterborough, which is that way you just keep driving until you can't drive anymore, okay? And I have been studying to become a pastor, and this summer I've been working under Pastor Evie, Pastor Beth, and Pastor Brandon. But I am super excited because today I get to bring the message to you guys. But before I go any farther, I have a question. How many of you guys know that there are some things in life that are just better with friends? Raise your hand. There's some things that just are better with friends, yeah? Does anyone have an example? Yeah? Watching a movie? I agree, yeah.
Playing a sport.
Yeah? Going to Canada's Wonderland. I totally agree. There are some things that just aren't the same when you have to do it by yourself, like playing Connect 4. It's not the same when you have to play it by yourself. It's much better to face Felipe. You might lose, but it's better than having to play by yourself. For the past few weeks, we've been talking about a word, and that word is resilience. Can anybody tell me what resilience means? Emma? Yeah, it means to never give up. Yeah, resilience is our ability to bounce back and grow stronger after we've struggled or faced hard times or even failed. You know, guys, while I was away, I actually developed a secret talent. Like, no one's ever actually seen me do this before, so you guys are the first ones, other than first service. So are you guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah? Do you guys believe in me?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. I'm just gonna need 1 second to set up. Okay? So just give me 1 minute.
Is it magic?
It's not magic, no.
Are you playing the drums?
Yeah, I'm going to play the drums, I'm going to play guitar, and I'm going to sing at the same time.
Alright,
Yeah, like, I just don't feel encouraged, you know, like, this is only my second time doing this in front of an audience, so, like, I really need you guys to, like, just hype me up for a second, okay? Thank you so much. Okay, just to let you know, it might be a little bit loud if you're not used to this type of thing, so you might need to plug your ears, okay? But here we go. I've been working really hard. Do you think I sound good?
Yeah. No.
Oh, you couldn't hear me? Do you need me to do it again? Yeah, okay. I'll do it one more time. This time I'll sing Deep Cries Out, because, you know, it's even better. Deep cries out to, deep cries out to, deep cries out to, deep cries out to. I think I'm ready for worship next week. What do you guys think? Working so hard, guys. Okay, well, I will spare you guys. I will not be doing worship next week, but let's just be honest, it probably would sound better, and it'd be a lot easier if other people were helping me, right?
Yeah. And also you could practice a bit more.
That's true, I probably could practice a bit more. See, there are some things in life that we just know are impossible to do by ourselves, or are really difficult. Like me playing all of those instruments is pretty difficult. I need other people's help, right? But even though we know it, we don't always live like it. See, a lot of us go through life doing it alone. So you've probably heard this word, this term, and it's loneliness. Maybe some of you have experienced it before. Maybe some of you are experiencing it right now. The fact is that 3 out of 5 people experience loneliness on a daily basis. So can this whole side of the room just stand up for me? Just stand on up. Okay. Everyone, look at the people who are standing. People who are standing, look around. That's a lot of people, right? That's basically 3 out of 5 people in this room. That's a lot of people who experience loneliness on a daily basis. Thank you guys. You guys can sit down. People who are trying to go through the difficult, hard, stressful times all by themselves. And I think that's why so many of us, when tough times happen, we do one of 3 things. Number 1, we pull away. We pull away from the people who are actually able to help us, the people who might be able to assist us when we're going through hard things. Why do we pull away? We pull away because we want to prove that we can do it by ourselves. We're scared that if we can't do it by ourselves, we might just be proving to the world that we don't have what it takes. Number 2, we hold things back. We hide the things that are going on. We don't tell people about the tough situations that we're going through. We just keep it all to ourselves. We don't tell our parents, we don't tell our small groups, we don't tell our friends, because we think we have to figure it all out by ourselves. We think we have to figure out how to deal with those thoughts and those experiences, so we don't let anybody in. And number 3, we think we have to do life all by ourselves. We've been taught that the biggest, bravest, strongest, best people are the people who can do it all by themselves. The people who are constantly saying, nah, I don't need help. I can do it on my own. But that's a pretty lonely and pretty tough way to live, right? So today we are going to be, but what if I told you guys that the best way to become stronger and healthier as you go through hard times is not by doing it by yourself, but by going about it with other people. Other people help us build resilience. Just like how it's not as fun when I have to play the instruments all by myself, it's not as easy to go through life if we're trying to do it on our own. Today we're going to talk about Paul. Leaders, can you come up and help me? Does anyone remember who Paul was? Yeah.
Paul was someone who believed in Jesus and God, and he had 2 disciples. One was named Timothy, and one was named Titus, which then canonized and became saints.
Wow, that's a lot of information. You know, Paul was one of the most influential and famous Christians. He helped start a lot of the early churches, and he helped spread the gospel, the good news, the adventures of Jesus with others. Early on, Paul was working with some of his buddies. He was working with Barnabas, Silas, and Mark. See, they were working together on a mission. Jesus had told them to go out into all the world and share the gospel, which is a pretty hard mission for just one person. So they decided to team up. But one day, Paul and Barnabas got into a little bit of an argument. See, they were going on these trips, and on their last trip, Mark had actually bailed. So Paul was pretty upset. He was telling Barnabas there was no way he was going to take him on the next trip. But Barnabas, being Mark's cousin, was like, well, there's no way that I'm going to leave him behind. So they never actually figured out their disagreement, and they went their separate ways. But later on, Paul found himself in a tough situation. Paul actually ended up in jail for sharing the gospel. See, Paul could have just thrown his hands up in the air and been like, you know what, I've done everything I can do. I'm in here now, so there's nothing else for me to do. I'm just going to quit. But that's not what he did. He wrote a letter to one of his friends, Timothy. And in that letter, it says something pretty interesting. Can you guys help me with reading the verse that's going to come up on the screen? Ready? Bring with you when you, for he will be to me in my ministry. See, Paul knew that he couldn't do it by himself. He knew that he needed Mark, the guy who had bailed on him, the guy who he didn't want to take a few years earlier. He knew he needed him. That was the only way he was going to be able to get his job done. But maybe for you, it looks a little bit different. Maybe you guys need help figuring out how to pass that test. Maybe it's figuring out how to deal with your anxiety, or maybe it's navigating the loss of a loved one. Or maybe it's how to grow in your faith. The point is that we will build resilience when we're able to let other people in. Leaders, thank you so much. That's why I need you guys to remember this. If you remember nothing else that I say, if you don't remember anything that happened today, I want you guys to remember this. Never give up on others. No matter what your past experience has taught you, no matter if you've gone through your entire life thinking you have to do it on your own, I need you guys to remember to not give up on others. Because if you want to keep going and growing and building resilience, you're gonna need other people. Now I know that there are sometimes circumstances where we have to distance ourselves from other people. You know, that's not what we're talking about in this situation. You know, sometimes for your own health and safety, you have to set a boundary, and that's okay. See, there's a difference between a disagreement between you and your friends and someone who's bullying you or someone who is putting you down or being a bad influence. See, those people, it's actually okay to distance yourself from. And if you're in that situation, I'm sorry. I know it can be really tough to set boundaries, but the good news is that while that person may not be a good influence, someone else can be. See, just because one person's let you down or one person has hurt you doesn't mean that everyone will. See, other people help us stay positive when life gets tough. There's nothing better than a friend who's gonna remind you that on a bad day, there's still good things in the world. There's still good that's happening. See, we need other people to help us remain positive because their positivity helps us make it through hard times. We need friendships because they help us build resilience. And number two, people provide the support that we need. We all need someone to sometimes just lean on, to laugh with, to cry with, to talk to. We need people to go through the highs and the lows of life with. And that's why we should never give up on others, because other people really do help us be resilient. So how can we begin to let other people in? Well, number one, ask yourself what's happening. Are you really good at letting other people in? Or do you find it a little bit harder? Number two, ask what's true. The truth is, you need people. The truth is, it's okay to need people. It's okay to lean on others. It's okay to ask for help because their help might be the very thing that helps you be resilient during a tough time. And number three, ask yourself, what can you do? See, some of you might have people who you know you can always go to. If you're going through a hard time, if you're having the best day ever, you know you have someone to talk to. But maybe some of you don't. If that's you, I want to encourage you guys, find someone who you can talk to about the highs and the lows of life with, because their support is going to mean everything. They're going to really be able to help you when you're facing hard times. See, when I was in elementary and middle school and even in high school, I tended to do those three things. I would pull back, I would hide, and I would think I had to do it all on my own. So I kept going through life holding things in. And I had had some friendships that kind of went sideways. We no longer were friends, and so because of those experiences, I didn't want to let people in anymore. So I got to this point where I was like, you know what? I don't need people. I don't need friends. I'm gonna do this on my own, because if I let someone in, they're just gonna hurt me. And I don't wanna be hurt again. So I decided to continue to pull away, continue to hold this stuff in, and eventually, I couldn't do it on my own. See, it got to this point where all these thoughts and all this stress actually got to me. I started having panic attacks because I wasn't talking to anyone. I wasn't telling anyone what was going on. I was trying to keep it all together, trying to do it all by myself because I thought that was what I was supposed to do. I thought the best people are the ones who can do it by themselves, so I'm just gonna make it through by myself. I couldn't. I got to this point where I realized I have to let someone in. I have to tell someone what's going on. So I started letting people in again, and I'll be honest, it was hard. It was really hard to begin to let people in because for so long I had told myself, I don't need them. For so long I had been doing it on my own. It was hard to kind of give someone and tell someone and just lean on someone. But I'm really glad I did, because honestly, I don't know if I'd be standing here today if I hadn't. I don't know if I would be where I am if I hadn't started to let people come into my life again. Because they really did help me stay positive when times got really rough. And they really did support me through the ups and through the downs. They were there on the good days, but they were also there on the bad days, which is why I'm here telling you guys to not give up on others. It's the easy thing to do, but it's not the best thing to do. The best thing to do is to allow others in, to let them know what's going on, because they're gonna help you be resilient as you're going through life. They're going to support you, and that support is going to make all the difference. So we're going to pray, and then we're going to break off into small groups, okay? God, thank you so much for today. Thank you that we were able to come together and be in this place and worship you and learn more about your word. God, you built us to be in community, to let other people in, and I just pray, God, that you would help us to let people in. Some of us may have been hurt before, God, and I just pray that we wouldn't let that hurt stop us, that we wouldn't let that hurt rob us from the relationships that you want for us. I just pray, God, that you would help us to forgive those who maybe have hurt us in the past. I just pray, God, that you would bring people into our lives who are going to support us, who are going to help us remain positive, be resilient during tough times. Help us to know that you are always with us, and you want people to be with us as well. I just ask that you would help us all to stay safe and healthy, and that you would bring the tweens back next week so they can learn more about you. Amen.